Okay, guys, so here is my request for the CRCC review of the RCMP investigation into CONRAD ERBES conduct from January 29th, 2022, all the way through the process of the 4 to 5 court dates from judicial justice to provincial court when he sued me, for my video footage on YouTube, and of course lost. He lost every single court case. But the RCMP investigation only approved a few of my allegations. The other 9 were not approved, so that's why we're taking this to the CRCC, where they're going to do their own independent investigation. So here, I'm going to read it for you guys. And I already submitted it. There's my reference number at top. So, dear CRCC, I request a review of the RCMP's investigation into my complaint against CONRAD ERBES 278150 for allegations 1, 3, 4, 6, 8, 9, 10, and 11. So they only approved actually number 2 and 5 out of all those allegations. The RCMP report by Corporal Jessica Kootenay and Staff Sergeant Ryan Failer wrongly dismisses allegations 1, 3, 4, 10, and 11, ignoring video evidence, sworn testimony, exhibits, ERBES synopsis from March 1st, 2022, showing intent to arrest for, quote, talking back, not a crime, Arver Lowness in 1992. And Security Officer S. Rath's report contradicts ERBES' story. Now, allegations 6, 8, and 9 are held in secret under Part 4 of the RCMP Act, unaddressed. For me, I'm not getting any information about those allegations, which are the ones where he served me a cease and desist and notice of claim lawsuit in court in police uniform, wearing all, being paid for taxpayer citizens, holding up the court, etc. So, allegation number 1, neglect of duty, failure to identify. This is a huge, very important issue for everybody in Canada. On January 29th, 2022, Constable ERBES knocked on my truck camper door, which is a Motor Vehicle Act regulations camper, which is a structure mounted upon a motor vehicle. At 8:06 p.m. in Kelowna, wearing a face covering and no legible name tag, I asked him 14 times to identify himself as shown in the videos from January 29th. Here's the raw video playlist and an edited playlist. So for those that don't know, I made the beginning of the Freedom Convoy, every video unedited, so then the RCMP could investigate ERBES with every raw video footage. See, these are all the raw videos from the night. And then the end where I won the slander, but lawsuit. And then I also included the playlist, which is, the original City of Kelowna harassment playlist. And this is, the one that has been edited. Okay, continuing. So allegation 1, neglect of duty. ERBES refused to identify his name or badge number and said in multiple ways that I must identify first before he will identify. I quote, "My name's available when you provide your ID," end quote. Next, "I asked you first. I will identify you when you meet me on the sidewalk. I don't have a badge to show you." The commissioners could not identify him, and Bylaw Hartman refused to identify him. His ID tag was illegible, violating RCMP Operation Manual Chapter 24.1. At 8:38 p.m., I called Kelowna RCMP with 250-768-2880, identified via vehicle KL3228. ERBES March 29th, 2023 court testimony claiming prior identification is false, contradicted by videos and his synopsis 1. The RCMP report claims a visible name tag, but photo stills and videos show it was illegible. It was not until 9:47 p.m. after ERBES put on an RCMP jacket that his ID number became visible on his vest, displaying the number 278150, which also contradicts Staff Sergeant Failer's report. The RCMP report claimed a name tag was initially visible with 2 separate words, and admits the video quality is, quote, not abundantly clear, end quote. The RCMP report then states, quote, "It is clear that Constable ERBES was wearing a name tag," end quote. ERBES did not meet the RCMP requirement that his name tag was visible when interacting with members of the public. Later at 9:47 p.m. during the 3-hour detainment, ERBES put on an RCMP jacket with an empty Velcro patch on the right chest area. At this point, his ID 278150 on his armor vest became visible for the first time. But Failer's report denies the video evidence. We'll take a look at that little clip, guys, but first I'm going to read what he had Failer put in the report. Video titled Freedom Convoy, Canadian Targeted by Police, CONRAD ERBES, and Kelowna Bylaw, Part 4, 9:47 p.m. So that video says, captured Constable ERBES wearing a blue RCMP issued jacket, unzipped and open in the front. There was no name tag visible when Constable ERBES was wearing this jacket, ... end quote. Let's take a look at the video now.
Sir?
I'm not sure if he's coming or not. What I can inform you, though, sir, is that based on...
Boom. All you got to do is zoom in, and as the video plays, there you go. You can even see the 8150 at the back, and the first two numbers are blurred, but this is the video.
Everything here, we need to ensure that you're going to be safe, and the tow is going to be safe, and we don't want to render damage to your vehicle. So what we need is the keys to the vehicle, because it's a four-wheel vehicle.
No. You're not being, do you hear this guy, man? No, dude. You think I'm playing your game? You are harassing me, dude. I don't appreciate this.
Have you consumed alcohol, sir?
No.
Okay.
He's asking me if I've consumed alcohol now, Matt.
So, Mr. Earney, at this moment, we need to ensure that you're going to be safe. So how...
You know what? You're not helping at all. You're an agitator.
I'm an agitator.
Yeah,
You're
right?
entitled to your opinion, sir. You were screaming at me earlier.
No, you were agitating me.
Oh man, that makes me laugh every time. That's Woody the Woodpecker, guys. I threw it there. So yeah, throughout this thing, you can zoom in and see on the jacket. I'll just show it one more time. Okay, so here's some screenshots, and there is his ID number, and I brightened it up in this photo. There you can see the 278150, and even in another one, same thing, guys. There is his ID. So he was wearing his ID, but guess what? He was covering it up, making it illegible. There it is. They're suggesting, and look, what is on top of that? Some kind of scarf thing, material, just Velcroed on top of it. I mean, so obvious, covering it up. So it was, whether he did that on purpose or not, it was ineligible, which doesn't meet the standard. Okay, so back to the report, you can see that Failer said there was no name tag visible in Constable ERBES while he was wearing a jacket. So he's lying. The RCMP report, they're just lying, him and Kootenay. Can you believe this? It's unbelievable that they think they can get away with this. So I easily pointed out this fact in this reply. Oh, there's Philip, hold on. Okay, continuing. So Sergeant Failer's RCMP report also suggested a courtesy ID claim for RCMP while on duty in public, but the RCMP website says otherwise, and I've put in some references. Quote, if the circumstances make it safe and reasonable to do so, the officer will provide that identification. In a situation such as a traffic stop, you may ask to see the officer's badge and ID card. So here you have the RCMP website. Officer identification in Nova Scotia. Now, for those that don't know, Nova Scotia, Shubenacadie is where we had that guy impersonating a police officer. He had a fake police car. He had the fake police uniform, fake badge, everything. And he pretended to be a cop and went and murdered people. He murdered what, like 8, 9, 10 people? He went on just door to door to door, knocking on people's doors. So your safety is our priority, and we can care deeply about the communities we serve. So let's find the information. So it says, we regularly reinforce with our officers the importance of self-identification. Residents can also request identification from RCMP police officers. And again, if the circumstances make it safe and reasonable to do so, the officer will provide that identification. In a situation such as a traffic stop, you may ask to see the officer's badge and ID card. Both the badge and ID card will show the same regimental number, and the ID card will have a photo. If you have further concerns, you may call dispatch at 1-800-803-RCMP outside the Halifax region. We are committed to protecting Nova Scotians, blah, 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 and look out for suspicious behavior. Anyone doing so will be caught up to 5 years in prison. So there you have it. Next, I quote, RCMP officers are issued identification cards nationwide and are required to carry these cards as well as their badge. Now, this is under the RCMP frauds and scams section. Here is the section under frauds and scams. Are you really talking to the police? There have been incidents where people impersonate the police, tried to scam individuals and businesses. In some cases, criminals successfully use this ploy to commit robbery, child abduction, sexual assault, and kidnapping. If you are suspicious about a person presenting themselves as police officer, call your local police immediately. Police dispatchers will be able to confirm the identity of any police officer working in the area. And for those that know what happened, that's exactly what I did. I called the local police station, not 911, as Herb said in his testimony, and said that I was misusing police services. What a fucking joke Herbs is. He's such an idiot. Here, and then they talk about phone scams, and they go into all the details, donation scams, traffic stops. Call 911 and ask the dispatchers to verify the contact. Then tell the officer through a cracked window and locked door that you plan to cooperate, but you have heard about police impersonators and are concerned for your safety, so you're verifying the contact through dispatch. So yeah, if you get pulled over, you just crack your window, ask the cop for his name or badge number, and then make the call to the local police and verify that he's a real cop. And tell him that you're going to cooperate, but you are taking this to do this first. And he's going to have to comply unless he's a tyrant, smash your window and so forth, right? But he would most likely act out like a tyrant and you'd be in a worse position outside your vehicle. Another one, a man entered a business, introduced himself as a police officer with a badge, and asked to see the cash that the previous customer had paid with. He told the clerk there was an investigation, blah, blah, blah. In another case, a man dressed as an RCMP officer entered a gas station and attempted to remove an ATM machine. And here's a picture of the RCMP badge that they're supposed to be carrying. Persons announcing themselves as police officers ask for entrance into blah, 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 blah. Okay, tips for avoiding. Call police if you believe it is a scam. If someone identifies themselves to you as a police officer, will usually state their name and rank as well as which detachment or police force they are working out of. Call your local detachment and ask dispatchers to verify the contact. Now, here's the most important one. RCMP officers are issued identification cards nationwide and are required to carry these cards as well as their badge. See examples, and that's what that was. So yeah, you can ask for their ID. Literally their actual ID, their picture ID. And next is included are allegations of refusal to identify oneself with the CRCC's neglect of duty classifications. So these are where you go over the complaint types with the CRCC. This is how you initiate your complaint against an RCMP officer. Then they approve your complaint, and if it's approved, then it moves to the RCMP to investigate themselves, which took failure 2 years to do so. I met with him 3 times for hours, an hour at least each meeting, had hour-long phone calls along with writing all the reports. And then in the end, what did failure do? He wrote this bullshit report with his cohort. So this category of neglect of duty F addresses allegations that a member failed or refused to perform a duty or provide a service that members are expected to provide, or did perform a duty or provide a service but in a manner which does not meet RCMP standards. Included are allegations of refusal to identify oneself, refusal or failure to provide timely and adequate service, mismanagement of a public complaint, inadequate or incompetent investigations, improper care and handling of prisoners, failure to release detained persons into a safe haven at the time of release, and failure to provide adequate, prompt, and competent medical care. This category also includes relative common allegations that deficient reporting, defiant reporting that a member failed or refused to record reports the facts of a public complaint, a service provided, or investigation conducted. It also includes allegations that a member fabricated, remember this, recorded or reported facts that were incorrect or untrue, or that a member concealed and or failed to record or report correct or true facts, referring to notebooks, occurrence reports, crime reports, reporting forms, court documents, or records of any type, including written, audio, video, electronics, etc. So Herbs made a lot of, he fills out a lot of topics in there under neglect of duty. All right, let's continue on with my reply to the CRCC. So request for review section. The RCMP report is biased, dismissing allegations 1, 3, 4, 10, and 11, despite evidence including ERBES synopsis with arrest intent without cause, and RAS report showing City of Kelowna targeting me as a, quote, known protester, end quote, during the Freedom Convoy, calling RCMP outside their jurisdiction for parking on Water Street, with ERBES acting by 8:06 p.m. Period. Just to add a side note, so the security, which is the commissionaires hired by the City of Kelowna, they have no jurisdiction on the street, only the sidewalk. They work around the bus station, they work on the sidewalks, you see them walking up and down. They have no jurisdiction with parking or anything on the street. So what are they doing monitoring me parking, right? It's completely biased. They're targeting me. It's for the City Freedom Convoy and out of their jurisdiction. So continuing on. Allegations 6, 8, and 9 remain unaddressed due to a secret Part 4 investigation. My affidavit from April 25th, 2023 adopts facts in my notice of application, paragraph 1 to 27. I request the CRCC review of... So for those that don't know, the notice application is my material facts with an affidavit about what happened. And this is how I went to move it to provincial court and sent it to all the people of importance. And, you know, and then the provincial court was approved, and then the Crown then dropped the charge because they don't want to go to provincial court. They want to be in judicial justice with your biased worship Burgess, you know, just a piece of shit as well, and lies and works in cohort with the RCMP. And I still got to do a complaint against Worship Burgess for not allowing me to question ERBES in court in cross-examination. He prevented my cross-examination going against the whole judicial justice system's appropriate courses of how it works. So allegation number 1. Allegation number 1, neglect of duty. ERBES refusal to identify 14 times, illegible ID tag, false testimony, and arrest intent for, quote, talking back. ERBES synopsis 1, RAS report. Allegation 3, neglect of duty, which was mislabeled as improper attitude in the RCMP report by Failer. ERBES and bylaw issued a fraudulent bylaw 4.1.2W ticket, which was cancelled by Sergeant William Scott post of review. Now, ERBES crossed out MVA 71B on my ticket, AJ 24625678, and which is from my Affidavit Exhibit A, but not the court's copy from Affidavit Exhibit B, causing a default conviction. This is referencing my notice of application, paragraph 13 to 15, and the RCMP report. Side note, guys, so ERBES gave me a ticket for failure to produce my driver's license on the night of January 29th. Then he crossed it out on the ticket, carbon copy that I was given because, was it Sergeant Corporal Hall said, no, you can't give him that ticket for no ID or no driver's license because he's not in the motor vehicle, he's in the camper portion. So he crossed it out on my ticket, but not on his, and then submitted his ticket. So then I had no way to know, or even when you take it to dispute, they have no way to know to dispute it because it was removed from the ticket. But anyway, so then I had a default conviction, which I had to do an affidavit for to get fixed. Allegation 3, neglect of duty, mislabeled as improper attitude. Oh wait, I already read that one. Allegation 4, neglect of duty, mislabeled as improper attitude. Again, man, they sure screwed this up, huh, Failer? ERBES tow threat at 20:09, so 8:09 p.m., and which was just, you know, immediately when he met me, and hookup with me inside was disproportionate, as Watch Commander Corporal Hall confirmed on video that no ID was required, as I was not in the motor vehicle, but in the camper portion. ERBES synopsis 1 and RAS report indicate unjustified escalation. Number 4, allegation number 6, which was improper attitude, and this one was held in secret. ERBES cease and desist letter at $1,000 a day requesting December 14th, 2022, and civil claim of $35,000 from March 29th, 2023, noted in my Affidavit Exhibit D, Notice of Application, paragraph 19, dismissed on September 30th, 2023, by Provincial Judge Tam, targeted my journalism, which had 834,000 plus initial views for the January 29th, 2022 documentation on YouTube. Allegation 8, improper attitude held in secret. So ERBES notice of hearing service in uniform was intimidating, tied to my protest activities, as noted in my notice of application, paragraph 26. Next was allegation 9, neglect of duty, again held in secret. ERBES delayed the court process to obtain a notice of hearing while on duty, misusing RCMP resources. So a little side note, so he came to the courtroom, told the Crown, his little Crown cop buddy, because there's no real Crown, that I need to go down to registration to get some evidence for this court. And then so he told the judge, oh, we need a little minute. ERBES is down in registration. So ERBES goes to registration to file a notice of claim, which is a civil lawsuit, a civil personal lawsuit, nothing to do with the RCMP. Holds the courtroom up for, what was it, nearly 30 minutes. The judge leaves the room, tells us to tell him to come back when ERBES is back. ERBES comes back and serves me in the courtroom with a notice of claim, a small claims lawsuit for $35,000 for my video footage of the documentation of him in public on duty on a public sidewalk. And of course, that was dismissed. So he delayed the court process to do personal business. And that was part of the secret investigation in Part 4 of the RCMP, which they won't tell me anything about. Allegation 10, oppressive conduct. ERBES 3-hour detainment from 8:06 p.m. to 11:02 p.m. Tow instruction at 21:23 hours with me inside, and a vague complaint, quote, "You're unwelcome here," end quote, caused fear. ERBES Synopsis 1 and RAS report contradict the no detainment claim. And allegation 11, irregularity of procedure. ERBES failed to submit ticket AJ24629795. So that's the second ticket he gave me in court at the beginning of court on December 14th, almost a year later, 11 months later since the incident in 2022, to the violation ticket center. Now, my RCMP complaint synopsis affidavit exhibit C notes that confirmed by my calls on March 10th and 27th, 2023, where I called the ticket office to ask, where's the ticket? Why is it not coming in the mail? And I wanted to have it adjudicated together with the previous ticket, preventing joint adjudication with the ticket 5678, which was the initial ticket on January 28th, as per my notice application. His synopsis and RAS report suggested deliberate delay. So ERBES didn't hand in the second ticket, which he gave me at the beginning of court, the first court date, because he wanted to have two bangs at the throttle with this Worship Burgess, wasting court's time, wasting taxpayer time, wasting my time, which they're all getting paid for and I'm not. Last paragraph, ERBES targeted me, aware of my YouTube channel, as per notice of application, paragraph 11, and affidavit, as shown by ERBES ticket, note, quote, identified by YouTube channel, end quote, and it's in his synopsis 1. And RAS, quote, known protester label, end quote. His actions breached Charter sections 2B, 2C, 2D, and 7. That's the Charter of Rights for Canadians, our Constitution, guys, as per my notice of application, paragraph 26, 27. So that ends my letter to the CRCC, guys. I guess next I could read the letter from the RCMP, from Failure, but it's really long and really stupid, so maybe we'll do that in a separate video. But my letter kind of summarizes their incompetence and lying, and this just keeps going on. How many days later has this been since the first initial complaint? So I'm just reading over the initial letter from from Staff Sergeant Ryan. Let me bring it up on the screen. Okay, so here is from the RCMP, from Staff Sergeant Ryan Failure, acting officer in charge of corporate and client services. There's the file numbers. They sent me this letter on June 2nd, guys, regarding my complaint via Part 4 of the RCMP Act, Mr. Marcel Ernie versus Constable ERBES. Dear Mr. Ernie, this letter is in reference to your concerns as expressed to the CRCC for the Royal Canadian Mounted Police on January 24th, 2023. So I submitted my complaint almost a year after the January 29th, 2022. So they've had how long to investigate this? Let's look at the day count.
To figure out how many days ago January 24th, 2023 was from today, July 29th, 2025, I'll do a quick calculation. From January 24th, 2023 to January 24th, 2024 is 365 days, since 2024 wasn't a leap year. Then, from January 24th, 2024 to January 24th, 2025 is another 365 days. Now, from January 24th.
Anyways, Grok was on some weird breaking up the days. It was 917 days from January 24th, 2023 till today. Like, what is going on? Holy crap.
917 days is equal to 2.512 years.
Oh my God. They took 2.5 years to finish the RCMP's investigation into themselves for Constable Herbes. Like, this is the biggest joke in the world. Failure, what a joke. What a joke. And Failure told me, oh, this will get done in the fall of 2 years ago. Well, since you guys are still with me, I might as well just read his letter real quick here. Let's try to get it. Dear Mr. Ernie, the letter is in reference to concerns of the Civilian Review and Complaint Commission, blah, blah, blah. Okay, let's get through it. A thorough investigation has been conducted into your allegations by Corporal Jessica Kootenay, who is an experienced investigator. I have had an opportunity to review the investigator's report, and accordingly, I am now in a position to comment on your concerns. So to give you guys a little side note, I met with Failure, he was Corporal Failure when I met him 2.5 years ago, okay? Then he was made Sergeant Failure, and then now he's Staff Sergeant Failure. So he's gone up and up the chain, and then now I met with him, did all the original investigation, and then after 2 years of working with him, waiting for the final conclusion, he hands this off to, because he's getting upgraded to Staff Sergeant, he hands it off to a new investigator to finish it up. Like, so ridiculous too. Anyways, let's address let's see his concerns. A background information. On January 24th, 2023, the Civilian Review and Complaint Commission received a complaint from you alleging that you had interacted with Constable CONRAD Herbes on 2 occasions, once on January 29th, 2022, while parked legally on the side of the road and within your camper, and then again on December 14th while present at the Kelowna Courthouse. Additional interactions with Constable Herbes occurred during subsequent court hearings. That's right. It was these interactions and the actions of Constable Herbes that prompted your complaint. B, nature of your complaint. The concerns raised by Mr. Ernie is summarized in the following allegations. And so this is what you saw. Allegation 1, neglect of duty, that Constable Herbes failed to identify himself when requested. Allegation 2, neglect of duty, that Constable Herbes improperly investigated the initial incident on January 29th, 2022 involving the parking of your truck and camper. Allegation 3, improper attitude. The Constable Herbes demonstrated vindictive behavior by issuing violation tickets to you at the scene when you would not exit your camper. Again, that's not improper attitude, as I mentioned. That's neglect of duty again. Allegation 4, improper attitude. Again, neglect of duty. That Constable Herbes demonstrated vindictive behavior by threatening to tow your truck and camper when you did not provide identification. Allegation 5, irregularity in procedure. That Constable Herbes altered the first violation ticket by crossing out an offense on the driver copy, but leaving it on the other copies. This resulted in you not disputing the first offense and unpaid fee. Allegation 6, improper attitude. That Constable Herbes served a cease and desist letter on you at the courthouse while on duty and in uniform, which you believed was an act of intimidation. Allegation 7, improper attitude. That Constable Herbes served you 2 additional tickets in traffic court after you advised Constable Herbes that you were pleading not guilty to the initial violations, which you believed was an act of intimidation before the hearing. Actually, that's actually neglect of duty. I might have got some mixed up here reading this now. Lots of acts of intimidation, huh? Allegation 9, neglect of duty. That Constable Herbes delayed the court process to attend court registry and obtain a notice of hearing while he was on duty and in uniform. Allegation 10, oppressive conduct. That Herbes unlawfully detained and harassed you for 3 hours. Allegation 11, irregularity of procedure. That Constable Herbes did not submit the second violation ticket issued to you, prohibiting you from disputing the violation ticket. So, findings of the investigation. During the course of the investigation, the following sources of information and materials were reviewed and relied upon: your complaint submission to the CRCC, your email communications with Staff Sergeant Failure, and a 15-page written statement, multiple videos provided by you and posted to your YouTube channel, Associated Investigation Police File Number 2022-5582, and related materials, Operational Communication Center, dispatch recordings, and police transmissions, statement of Staff Sergeant Justin Abels, Staff Sergeant Justin Abels is the supervisor of ERBES, note. And Corporal Kent Hall, who was the officer that came as the officer in charge that night, the watch commander. Statements of witnesses, including bylaw enforcement, that's Hartman, and Kelowna security officers, that's S. Rath and the two other guys, and Motor Vehicle Act and Motor Vehicle Act regulations, RCMP policy and procedure. A notice of direction dated June 2nd, 2023 was sent to you advising allegations 6, 8, and 9 as set out above would be investigated under Part 4 of the RCMP Act and therefore will not be addressed through the public complaint process. This is what I'm talking about, guys. This is the secret investigation that they won't give me any result. It's ended, it's done, and they won't tell me what's going on at all. I have no resolve of that. So that's why I included it in my complaint to the CRCC, that there is no answer to it. As per the RCMP Act, officers are not obligated to provide a statement during an investigation into a public complaint. As it relates to this investigation, Constable ERBES did not provide a statement. However, he was advised of your concerns. So ERBES didn't want to get himself into deeper water and refused to reply to the complaint. Allegation 1, neglect of duty, that Constable ERBES failed to identify himself when requested. In your complaint submission to the CRCC, you wrote on January 29th, 2022, that you were threatened and detained by Constable ERBES from 8:06 p.m. to 11:02 p.m. You wrote that you spoke to Constable ERBES through the window of your camper and asked Constable ERBES for his identification. However, Constable ERBES refused and stated that he would give you his identification when you stepped outside to meet him on the sidewalk. This interaction resulted in you questioning if Constable ERBES was even a police officer as he claimed to be, and you calling the RCMP at 8:38 p.m. requesting a watch commander attend the scene for your safety. You recorded the incident. You provided a 15-page typed report pertaining to your interactions with Constable ERBES and titled the document RCMP Complaint Synopsis. You set out in part that on January 29th, 2022 at 8:06 p.m., Constable ERBES knocked on your truck camper door. You opened the door to see a police officer in full RCMP uniform with a face covering mask. You stated that the RCMP officer had no identification number or name on their vest. You stated that when you opened the rear camper door, Constable ERBES immediately asked you for identification. You told Constable ERBES to hold on, then shut the camper door and proceeded to the camper window and grabbed your phone to record the interaction for your protection. You stated that you repeatedly asked the officer for his name and badge number. However, Constable ERBES refused and ignored your request. Within your report was a link to a video that you recorded and your cell phone was posted on YouTube channel. Just a side note, so they got that wrong. I stated that I opened the rear door and filmed him where he again asked me for identification. And then I said, no, I don't need to give you ID, and then proceeded to talk to him through the window and shutting the door. So here it says, ERBES asked for identification. You told ERBES to hold on, then shut the camper door and proceeded to the camper window. No, that's not true. So he screwed that part up. And there's a video of the incident, which probably won't work on this link. A video of the incident was uploaded to the following, and for the purpose of the investigation was reviewed. The video, which was captured from your YouTube channel by a Kelowna RCMP criminal analyst, was 7 minutes and 59 seconds in length, entitled Kelowna Police Officer Harassment Freedom Convoy, January 29th. The video, which appeared to have been captured by you on a cell phone, was narrated by you. The video captured interactions you had with Constable ERBES as well as two City of Kelowna security officers. The video begins with a police officer, Constable ERBES, in full police uniform wearing a face covering and donning a toque. The video appears to have been initiated mid-conversation and did not capture Constable ERBES' initial approach to you as you were already conversing with Constable ERBES when the video begins. That's incorrect. The video begins when I open the door and then I ask him, what can I do for you? They're misleading it. Even though it wasn't the first time I talked with him, yes, but it wasn't initiated mid-conversation. It was beginning of the next conversation. Continuing. Constable ERBES is captured wearing the standard issue RCMP uniform shirt and pants, as well as RCMP issue soft body armor with police written in bold letters across the front. On the left front shoulder area, a police radio is visible, while on the right chest area is a name tag. Due to the lighting and instability of the video, it is not clear what is written. However, it appears to be two separate words. Let's remember that. So he's saying there's a name tag, but it's not. But the lighting and instability of the video is not clear what's written, but it appears to be two separate words. Video titled, actually, we should look at the photo before. Again, this is Herbes as he's putting his toque on. This is from the initial sections. Again, that appears to be 2 words. That's for sure wearing a name tag. That's for sure wearing a name tag. And in real life, you can't zoom in, by the way. Not at all. Might as well just take a look at the quick video anyways.
Your car.
I'll talk to you through the window. Okay, so what can I do for you?
Okay, do you have your ID is what I've asked you for?
I don't need to give you ID.
Okay, then I'll be towing your car.
I'll talk to you through the window. All right. I'm right here. Hold on. I'm back.
Well,
So what's going on?
I've asked you to meet me on the sidewalk.
I'm definitely not
going
coming.
to have a conversation through the window.
Well, I
Your
will. Let's go.
vehicle's currently towable, so I suggest you get it moved and get your front plate attached and visible immediately. Otherwise,
okay.
I'll be towing you under that authority under the Motor Vehicle Act of British Columbia.
Okay, so what's the problem?
I just told you.
No. I mean, what's the real problem here?
I've just told you.
No, why are you hassling me?
I'm not hassling you, sir.
I'm just having some food here.
You're not permitted to be here. You're overstayed.
What's the stay on the street?
There's a bylaw.
And what is the hour I can park on the street?
What's that?
What time is it right now?
I don't know. You should check on your cell phone that you're recording me with.
Yeah, well, well, maybe not right at this very spot, but I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
It's not 11 o'clock
So
yet, is it?
I'm going to allow you 10 minutes to move your vehicle, otherwise it's going to be towed.
So
and you also need to have a front plate visible and mounted on the
Okay.
bumper of your vehicle.
I'm not your enemy.
You're not my enemy.
No, why are you being a enemy right now?
This is a motor vehicle in Canada, in British Columbia, and it needs to have a front plate mounted in order to comply with ICBC legislation.
Okay, well, there should be a front plate, so I'll go check on that when I get going.
Anyways, as you can see, guys, he has no visible ID. It's being covered up by something, and it's just you can't see it this whole time. Whether the light shines, sometimes light shines, and I can pause it.
I'm not camping here. It's the day. I was just here in the.
Day. It's dark.
It gets dark in the winter at like 4 o'clock, and now 5 probably.
What time is it now?
I don't know. I was just on the phone.
Okay.
Why don't you please tell me what time it is?
It's 8:09 p.m.
It's 8:09 p.m.
Correct.
So why can't I be here at 8:09, mister, over there?
Why are you talking to him? I'm talking to you.
Oh, because you're not actually talking to me. You're just being negative towards
So
me.
I'm going to start a timer so that we can all be lawful.
So-
if you like, you can record this on your
So,
phone.
because you work for the city over there, why am I not allowed parking here?
Put that in your camera. So you have a 10-minute
Yeah.
timer.
What's your name?
My name.
What's
will
your
be
badge
available
number?
To you when you provide me.
What's your
ID
name and badge number?
My name's available to you out here.
What's your name and badge number?
Did you not hear what I just said to you?
I said, I'm asking you the question.
Okay, that's
What's your
fine.
name and badge number, please?
Okay, you failed to comply with me, so I'm failing to comply with you until you meet me out here.
I've done nothing illegal. I'm parked
That's
on
not true.
public streets.
That's not true. You have done something illegal.
What have I done illegal?
I've already explained it to you.
No, the front plate is not a criminal
timer's
offense.
going. When
The
the
front
timer-
plate is not a criminal offense. Stop
talking
acting
times.
like a child.
I just told you motor vehicle accident.
What is your name, sir? You're going to be on YouTube if you keep this
That's
up.
fine. I like YouTube.
All right, why don't you
I've
show
got
me
more-
your face and be
I've
human?
got more fans than you do.
So anyways, guys, you can clearly see that a name tag would reflect too. The white would reflect. It's not visible. It's not visible. So back to the writing here. So Failer and Kootenai, they've said, however, it appears to be 2 separate words. Yeah. So video titled Freedom Convoy Canadian targeted blah 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 9 the video, which is 27 minutes in length, captured by Constable Herbes. This is another video wearing a blue RCMP issued jacket, unzipped and opened the front. There was no name tag visible when Constable Herbes was wearing this jacket, only the Velcro patch on the exterior of the jacket where the name tag should have been. So at 9:47, so this is an hour and 40 minutes later, he had a number visible, and I'm going to show you. So first of all, they're saying it's a name. It's 2 words. It's visible. And then when he puts his jacket on, they're not saying his number is visible because they don't want to admit that it's not words. It's a number. Let's go find that image. We already looked at this earlier. This is when he's wearing his jacket. You can see it, 278-150. So this is back to the report. They deny that he had a number there, but that number was covered up when I didn't know who he was until I called the RCMP. Then he decided that he's going to uncover the number to cover up his tracks probably. So there you have it, guys. some big discrepancy in the RCMP report by Failer. Failer, what are you doing? You're saying that there was no name tag visible when Constable Herbes was wearing a jacket. But there is. I just proved it. It's in the video of 9:47 at 12-minute mark for several seconds on and off. And you say, however, it appears to be two separate words in the beginning when there was no evidence of that in the video, that you can clearly see it was covered up. And you forget, you don't even mention that it was covered. You don't even talk about that in your report. So you guys are misleading and lying. You're lying, Failer. Yeah, you're caught in a lie. You're so caught in a lie. So a transcript of the trial proceedings from the Provincial Court of British Columbia dated March 29th and before Judicial Justice B. Burgess, that's Brian Burgess, was reviewed. The trial was pertaining to violation ticket 5678, that's the first ticket, which was issued to you on January 29th by Constable Herbes. During his testimony, Constable Herbes stated that during his initial interaction with you at the rear of the camper, he identified himself to you by providing his name and that he was with the Kelowna RCMP and began to explain why he was there when you abruptly ended the conversation, closed the door to your camper, and would only speak through the window. For clarity, RCMP policy requires that police officers wear a name tag featuring their surname along with either their first name or initial, and that their name be visible when interacting with members of the public. It is significant to note that there is no requirement in law or RCMP policy for a police officer to provide his or her name to anyone. Or is it his or her or it or they or them? Isn't that more correct for you guys these days? However, officers often identify themselves as a matter of courtesy when asked to do so by members of the public. See, there's a couple things wrong in there. We just read over the RCMP websites that say otherwise. They're suggesting that you can ask the officer, and if it's safe to do so, they will give you their information. They also say that you should call the RCMP hotline or their main offices to verify that they are correct and they have pulled you over. And we've all know about the mass murders in Nova Scotia, which none of this is protecting us because the RCMP policy says you don't have to identify when asked, and then you're not even discussing how the ID was covered up or ineligible in this your whole report. Like, you guys are such a joke. Such a joke. And then back to when you say Constable Herbes said in court that he stated his name and his detachment, but you didn't even mention that Herbes said on camera 14 times that I'll show you my ID when you show me yours. I'm not going to give you my ID until you step out of the vehicle. I don't have a badge to show you. I was going to give it to you on paper. All those are past tense that I'm going to give you my identification when you ID first. He doesn't even mention that in this report. Failure, you have failed. You have failed your job at the RCMP. I guess we should call you Officer Failure. Officer. Yeah, Staff Sergeant Failure. Oh man, now I'm saying your name correct. The soft body armor worn by Constable Herbes during his initial interactions with you and captured in the YouTube video is an RCMP issued vest, meaning that they are approved item for the RCMP uniform and distributed by the RCMP. These soft body armor vests are mass produced, are the same for each officer. Yeah, well, the guy in Nova Scotia had one as well before he murdered 10 people. Each vest contains a rectangular Velcro patch on the right front chest area for officers to affix their name tag. From viewing the video, although it is not abundantly clear due to the quality of the video what the words are on the name tag, it is clear that Constable Herbes was wearing a name tag. I am faced with conflicting information, you suggesting Constable Herbes was not wearing a name tag and all, and the video which clearly shows Constable Herbes wearing a name tag. You forgot to mention it clearly doesn't show a name tag that is visible or legible. Why aren't you mentioning that? Because that is also, as you mentioned, part of the rules. It must be legible when dealing with the public. You're skewing this report. This is skewing. You're misleading everything here, there, Failure. Additionally, Constable Herbes testified that during his initial interaction with you, he did identify himself by name as set out above. This initial interaction was not captured on your video. After thorough and reviewing all the information available to me, I am unable to support your allegation 1. Why don't you mention what he said? How many times do we have to say it? I'm not going to identify until you identify it. Like, you don't even mention that Herbes said he will not identify until I identify. You didn't even mention that I asked the bylaw, and he said, well, I'm not going to tell you. And you didn't even mention I asked the commissioners, and they said, I don't know. Nobody knows who this guy is. You forget to mention that I called the police, and that's when I got the actual name. And then I confronted him saying, I know who you are now. Like, you are such a joke.
I have a 10-minute timer.
What's your name?
My name.
What's your badge number?
To you when you provide me.
What's your name and badge number?
My name's available to you out here.
What's your name and badge number?
Did you not hear what I just said to you?
I said, I'm asking you the question.
Okay,
what's your
fine.
name and badge number, please?
Okay, you failed to comply with me, so I'm failing to comply with you until you meet me out.
What is your name, sir? You're going to be on YouTube if you keep this
That's
up.
fine. I like YouTube.
All right, why don't you show me your face and be
I've
human?
got more fans than you do.
If you camp here overnight, it's a bylaw offense.
Okay, yeah, I know. So I know I'm allowed to be here, and I know I'm not allowed to camp here overnight, right? So, like, is there something else going on here? Like, why is he harassing me? Why are you... Officer, you better tell me your name. Why are you harassing me, and what is your name?
I have a lawful authority to request identification. You have failed.
No, you don't. You need probable cause to ask for identification. I'm not driving the vehicle.
That's not true at all.
In Canada, the RCMP must have reasonable grounds to suspect that you have committed a crime or are about to commit a crime to demand your identification. If you're inside a motor vehicle, they can require your ID or driver's license. However, if you are not in a motor vehicle, say you are outside on the sidewalk or in a camper, which is a structure mounted upon a motor vehicle as per the Motor Vehicle Act regulations, they cannot require your ID.
Parking.
What is your name? Tell me your name.
Why are you getting angry?
Because you are causing a disturbance in Kelowna. I am a lawful, humble person here in my RV.
That's great. So when you
What is your name? What is your name?
The lawyer can give you.
Can you tell me what this guy's name is, guys?
I couldn't tell you.
You don't know what this officer's name is.
So you can have my name when you get out of the vehicle.
BC Case Law 175 CCC. The police officer cannot be the cause of the disturbance. If the disturbance starts as a result of the arrival or contact with the police, this charge is not applicable. Yelling and screaming at the police is not a disturbance. Police cannot be disturbed. It must be the public that are disturbed. The fact that crowd gathered is not necessarily evidence of the disturbance. They will be portrayed as curious onlookers, not disturbed members of the public. Who is this officer or...
If he wishes to tell you.
Let's start over.
No,
What's your first name?
I am asking you for your ID. You have to tell me who you are. What is your name?
Can I confirm your full legal name with you, sir?
What is your name?
I'm ready to provide it as soon as you provide your name, because I asked first.
What is your name?
At 9 o'clock,
You have to tell me your name. I'm
I'll
gonna...
provide it to you in writing, on paper.
No, I need to see your badge number, sir. Show me your badge number.
I don't have a badge to show you.
Sorry, was this West Kelowna or Kelowna?
This is Kelowna, right at Stewart Park where the ice rink is.
Yeah.
And, I mean, he won't give me his name or badge, and he's demanding that I leave. And I'm just parked on the street, not doing anything wrong, and he's demanding the ID, and yet he won't give me his ID. And, you know, at first I was wondering if he's a legit officer or impersonator, but there is a vehicle. He is now in a vehicle. He's just watching me, waiting for me to leave, and he had a bylaw come over and tell me that I have to leave at 9 o'clock because I'm in my vehicle or in the truck camper. And he's staking me, waiting for me. And the number on the car is KL3228. Show me your badge number.
I don't have a badge to show you.
And do you have his name, the KL3228 vehicle being held right now?
Yeah, that's a Constable ERBES. ERBES. ERBES.
ERBES.
That's correct. Yeah.
Oh. By the way, Officer ERBES, I know who you are now.
That's fine. I saw that you spoke to the watch commander.
Yeah, so we'll wait for him.
Yeah, I was going to give it to you on paper, but it's just as fine. So,
What do you want? I'm just...
Bam! Well, I think the video footage proves exactly what I'm saying, that is so obvious. ERBES admits to not identifying how many times on video. That's fine that you got my ID. I was going to give it to you on paper. Like, Failer ignores all the evidence. He ignored all the evidence. So hopefully the CRCC is actually going to take the time to watch the video footage and go over the evidence, because then it's obvious. Like, could you imagine a court of trial where this is like just excused? Oh no, I don't. No, ERBES, he says he identified. We believe him. We're going to ignore all this evidence that he speaks about not identifying and how I will identify when you identify first. Okay, let's go. Let's continue on. So that was like allegation 1 that was not approved by failure. A failure. Allegation 2, neglect of duty, that Constable Herbs improperly investigated the initial incident on January 29th involving the parking of your truck and camper. Allegation 10, oppressive conduct, that Constable Herbs unlawfully detained and harassed you for 3 hours. Allegation 2 and 10 are closely related. They will be addressed together. In your complaint submission to the CRC, you stated that on January 29th, there was a series of unprofessional conduct acts, including neglect of duty, intimidation, and threats made to you by Constable Herbs. You stated that you were threatened and detained by Herbs from 8:06 to 11:02 regarding a parking warning, specifically to not camp overnight. Staff Sergeant Ryland Failer, the initial investigator assigned to the public complaint, that's you, yes, interviewed City of Kelowna Security Officer S. Rath, who had been present on January 29th. S. Rath also provided a typed report which he referred to it in his statement. During his statement and within his report, S. Rath provided in part the following information. On January 29th, at approximately 4 p.m., he had attended a watch briefing at the beginning of his shift at the Kelowna RCMP detachment pertaining to the ongoing Freedom Rally which was occurring at Stewart Park. He was requested to be vigilant and keep an eye on protesters overstaying in the downtown core. Again, his jurisdiction's on the sidewalk only. It has nothing to do with vehicles. Following the briefing, he went straight to Stewart Park to get a sense of what was occurring and who was present. It was at approximately 4:41 p.m. that S. Rath first noted your vehicle and camper as being present at the rally. Again, none of his jurisdiction. This is a sidewalk. He noted that your vehicle did not have a front license plate and the rear plate was not visible, obstructed from view. He notified Dispatch, City of Kelowna, who would monitor your vehicle for overnight camping via CCTV and also obtained 3 photographs of your vehicle taken from the front and rear of the vehicle. Again, he has no jurisdiction for my parking, for license plate, for parking. None of this. This is none of his business. On the rear of the truck was a motorcycle carrier with a motorcycle on it. The position of the motorcycle obstructed your rear license plate from the view. The third photograph was taken from a low vantage point near the asphalt between the carrier and your vehicle, which was captured your license plate. None of his business. He has no jurisdiction for parking, you idiot. S. Rath, City of Kelowna. S. Rath now works in Winfield, apparently, as bylaw. He's been upgraded from security to bylaw in Winbuck 2. Later that evening at approximately 7:20 p.m., while conducting routine walking patrols through Stewart Park, S. Rath noted your vehicle and camper were still parked on the corner. Again, none of your business, S. Rath. He noted his dispatch of this observation, and he was concerned that you were planning to stay. Oh, you're concerned, Rath. You're concerned about my vehicle parking overnight. As it was a bylaw violation for anyone to be abode camping overnight on a highway or roadway within the city overnight. Yeah, what evidence do you have I'm camping overnight? I'm parked there at 8 o'clock, you idiot. He requested that bylaw attend. His dispatch notified him that you had been parked in the same spot since approximately 10 a.m. At 7:24 p.m., he was notified by his dispatch that RCMP had been called. Why is the City of Kelowna calling the RCMP for something they have no jurisdiction to even monitor? Why are they calling the RCMP? This is not a crime. This would be simply a parking ticket in the morning. That's all it would be. For parking when the parking opens in the morning. Upon the arrival of the RCMP, Security Officer S. Raff said that Constable Herbes obtained photographs of your vehicle and must have completed police queries as Constable Herbes was aware of who the registered owner was. Yeah, so he knew who I was when he saw the camper. He knew who I was when he was told about it on the radio. He was watching, Herbes was watching the videos of the rally that day. He wasn't on duty at that time. He watched my video from the day before, the bylaw police video I made, the good, the bad, and the ugly. He had it out for me. He was present when Constable Herbes knocked on the back door of the camper. You answered the door, and Constable Herbes requested that you step out and speak with him and bring some identification. Constable Herbes had advised you that he had concerns with the state of your vehicle, specifically that there was no front plate and that the rear plate was obstructed from view. S. Rath described the interaction as something he would expect from a police officer, and that Constable Herbes was clear and concise. He recalled that you refused to comply, shut the door, and advised through the window that he would communicate through the window. Following a brief conversation between yourself and Constable Herbes pertaining to his request for you to step out of the camper and provide identification, you began yelling. He stated that Constable Herbes explained to you that you were overparked. Herbes provided you with a timeline of 10 minutes to comply to his request to place a front license plate on your vehicle, or the vehicle would be towed under the authority of the Motor Vehicle Act. S. Rath said you then spoke to him and his partner, Security Officer J. I can't remember his name right now, and asked them what the officer's problem was. He did not speak to the officer's actions, but instead responded by saying that he was there to ensure you were not taking a boat overnight camping, and the bylaw prohibited this act was in effect from 9 p.m. until 6 a.m. And that bylaw is bullshit. That is not overnight camping a boat. It doesn't apply to somebody in that situation. That they're talking about people with tents set up on the highway who have been there and proven they've been there overnight before. Once the 10 minutes were up and you still refused to cooperate with Constable Herbes returned to his police vehicle and presumably completed paperwork pertaining to the MVA infraction. Security S. Rath went on to state that approximately 9:23 p.m. Mario's towing had arrived to the scene as you had refused to exit the camper. By this time, 2 bylaw officers had also arrived to the scene and attempted to speak with you without success. A thorough review of the detailed call summary report for Kelowna RCMP file number was completed. The report, which sets out to the dispatched call taker's remarks and documents which police officers dispatched and their locations, set out the following information. On January 29th at 7:22, a call was received from the City of Kelowna security officers advising of I'm an unwanted person. Bylaw complaint was for a vehicle that had parked in front of City Hall situated at Water Street since 10:50 a.m. And I was there for the rally. I was documenting the rally. Journalism, guys. Yeah, I arrived there around 11, and there's video of that. The vehicle, which also had a camper on it, was occupied. Well, the vehicle wasn't occupied. I was in the camper. The vehicle license plate provided was your license plate. Constable Herbes was dispatched and arrived on scene at 8:02 p.m. A thorough review of the RCMP complaint was completed as it relates to Allegation 2. Constable Herbes documented that upon arrival to the scene, he located your vehicle, which he described as a dually pickup with a camper. Constable Herbes documented that your vehicle did not have a front license plate and only a rear plate was observed and confirmed as British Columbia license plate 7192. Constable Herbes confirmed through police queries that you were the registered owner. Constable Herbes documented that bylaw officers were on scene and had indicated that you should you remain past 9 p.m., they had planned to issue you a violation ticket for being in a boat. Herbes documented that during the course of the interaction, you screamed at him numerous times, and when he and bylaw attempted to answer your questions, you would shut various windows of the camper and then go to another window and demand to be spoken from that window. Herbes documented that your camper dually pickup had no license plate displayed on the front and rear license plate was not visible. Only if you moved to roughly 45-degree angle and knelt down it could be seen. The rear hanging motorcycle carrier was more than 1.2 meters off the rear of the vehicle and did not have a red flag. Just to interject, did Herbes get a tape measure out? Because yeah, I measured it and it was 1 meter. It wasn't 2 meters off the rear. And again, I took that to court and didn't even get to that point. I won before all that. Constable Herbes documented that he ultimately served you a violation ticket, MVA section 4.22B for no front plate and section 301 for no red flag. What about the ticket for ID? A review of the violation ticket 5678 within the hard copy file revealed that the violation ticket was for the 3 offenses: refusal to provide driver's license section 71B of MVA, failed display plate, and the no red flag section. The ticket was issued to you and the section box was checked off identifying you as the driver of the vehicle. Additional options available for this section of the ticket were not checked off, including pedestrian, cyclist, passenger, owner, and other. What? I missed this earlier. You know, he did check off one of those on my ticket. Maybe it didn't go through to that carbon copy. But he said I was the driver of the vehicle and not the owner of the vehicle in that ticket. As mentioned above, you provided a 15-page typed report pertaining to your interaction with Constable Herbes titled blah, blah, blah. Within the document, there were linked a number of videos. See, this is it's going to repeat. You opened the door to see a police officer in full uniform. You shut the door and proceeded to communicate. The officer asked you for identification. You replied you did not have to provide your identification, which Constable Herbes responded, okay, in that case, I'll be towing your car. You said that Herbes continued to ask for your identification and threatened issuing you MVA, MVR tickets. In your report, you provided a link to the video. In your report, you detailed a conversation you had a bylaw officer H, which took place at 8:43 p.m. You said to bylaw H, knocked on your window, asked for your identification, and told you that you were there after 9 and were taking a boat. You requested to know what section of the bylaw he was referring to, and this is bylaw Hartman, and he provided you with a section 412W. You stated that the bylaw officer showed you a section he was referring to in his handbook, which stated 4.12. However, you stated that you could not see it clearly. You could not see where it said W, and determined that the offense the bylaw officer was referring to was not even in the handbook. And it wasn't. It wasn't in the handbook. You guys have all seen the video footage. He was giving me a ticket that wasn't even in his handbook. You stated that Constable Erbes returned to speak to you and had a blue ticket in his hand. However, you closed the window as you did not wish to speak to him any further as you were scared. You stated that you did reopen the window as Erbes remained to speak to you, and you told Erbes that you knew his name now, and Constable Erbes told you that was fine, and he was aware you had called the police and would be providing you with his name in writing anyways. Now you mention that. It's all past tense. He was going to provide his name. You stated that Erbes told you that a tow had been called and that you were called and that your vehicle was a dually had a camper. The tow bill would be $350 at your expense. Constable Erbes then advised you that this was the opportunity to leave, and you quoted, "So you don't have to incur." You stated that you interrupted Erbes and told him that he was scaring you and that you were not going outside to talk as he was threatening you. You stated that you shut the window to wait for the watch commander. You said that you called the RCMP again at 9:44, requested a supervisor attend the scene right away as the police and bylaw were escalating an alleged parking complaint by intimidation and harassing you. Okay, guys, we needed a little break here. We're at an hour. It just goes on and on. They just get into the details, and as you can see, they skew a lot of things, and I can correct it as it goes. So then they go into the dispatch recordings and police transmissions were reviewed. Audio call. Audio captured the rest of your conversation, and they asked you if you could take the vehicle home. The investigator obtained a statement from Corporal Kent Hall. I said to the guy on the phone, the dispatch, you were concerned the individual was not a real officer and advised that he was agitated and being aggressive. You updated that you had been concerned that the individual was impersonating an officer, but had since observed the individual get into a police car. You said you felt you were being persecuted, you were scared, and requested a supervisor. Now this is really interesting when Corporal Hall arrived, guys, and what Corporal Hall said in his statement does not align with what he said in person or what happened. So this is really unfortunate on Hall. He's just hiding. He's hiding, unfortunately, from the fact of doing good work at the time. Corporal Hall stated that he also spoke with you in an attempt to resolve the issue. However, you maintained your position and refused to exit the camper. Corporal Hall described his conversation with you as circular, argumentative, and you appeared to be enjoying the attention of the interaction. That is a complete lie. I'd love to see Corporal Hall's actual statement, because Corporal Hall knew I was practically crying. I was under so much stress. Corporal Hall even had tears at the end when I was finally able to leave and Erbes was gone. Like, this is absolutely a lie from either Corporal Hall or from Failer about Corporal Hall's report. Corporal Hall stated that Constable Erbes had the authority to issue you the violation ticket under MVAR, as well as had the authority to tow your vehicle. No, he didn't. That was the exact opposite. Corporal Hall stopped the tow. He stopped the ID ticket. Corporal Hall stated that he believed that you were using concern of personal safety as a mean by which to circumvent any enforcement action taken against you. You mean enforcement action, like wrongful enforcement and action? Like nothing in court proved that I won every single court case? This was all bullshit, and they was out of their jurisdiction, the police, bylaw, and everybody, and the commissionaires. Corporal Hall stated this matter dragged on as he refused to cooperate, and ultimately he made the decision to disengage from you completely. Corporal Hall stated that he foresaw the situation escalating as you refused to comply with police, and Erbes refused to reply, and he wanted to avoid all of that at all costs. On January 29th, prior to police departing the scene to allow you time to leave, Constable Erbes issued you a violation ticket for 3 offenses, which includes refusal to provide driver's license, well, that one was crossed off, failure to display front plate, and no red flag. For clarity of Section Motor Vehicle Act 71 sets out the elements of the offense to use as another's license or permit or failure to permit inspection, which states, So this is where you get into the ticket that was crossed off, where he tried to give me a ticket for failure to produce driver's license, and then later on he gave me a ticket for failure to state name and address, which none of them can be done because I wasn't in the motor vehicle. I was in the camper, which is mounted upon a motor vehicle. So this goes through: a person commits an offense if the person, while driving, operating, or in charge of a motor vehicle on a highway, does any of the following: uses or in possession of a permit, motor vehicle, insurance, liability card. I'm going to skip to B. Refuses or fails to produce a subsisting driver's license, permit, certificate, or motor vehicle card. So in this case, it is important to note that during the course of the investigation, you were within the camper and not in the vehicle. For clarity, as the registered owner, 83.2 of the Motor Vehicle Act sets out, your obligations as the owner of the motor vehicle must be held liable for any contravenes. Please note that the removal of the Section 71 MVA offense from your copy of the violation ticket will be addressed in Allegation 5. Now it goes into the number plate issued, one plate on the front, one on the rear of the vehicle if two number plates are issued. And then it goes into the other ticket about the load, Division 4. For lamps or flags on front or rear projections, a vehicle or highway must not carry a load or have an integral part of the vehicle project more than 1 meter, it's actually 1.2 meters, beyond the front wheels or the front bumper, oh, that's the front, during the time specified in Section 401. So here's the Section 2 about the rear. A vehicle on a highway must not carry a load or have an integral part of the vehicle which projects more than 1.2 meters to the rear of the load deck or body of the vehicle. So remember that it's the load deck. So I have a camper, so there's a load deck at the back of the camper, right? There's a step-up load deck. So 1.2 meters from the load deck, and the motorcycle was not over that. I measured it and I had it ready for court. Now onto the bylaw ticket, 4.1.2 W. W is overnight abode on any highway for the purpose of taking up temporary residence between 9 p.m. and 6 a.m. of the following day. So you'd have to prove that you're taking up residence between 9 p.m. and 6 p.m. You can't just, it's not, people park downtown all the time. I've parked downtown so many times, hundreds of times. And then people go to movie theaters, people go to the clubs, people go to the pubs. It doesn't matter if your vehicle's parked there, and it doesn't matter if I'm in the camper mounted upon the motor vehicle. It doesn't mean I'm taking up temporary residence. And again, that ticket was thrown out by bylaw superintendent guy when I disputed it. Okay, so fast forwarding. As set out above, Constable Erbes checked the box on the violation ticket identifying you as the driver as opposed to the owner. Yeah, I mentioned that earlier. As you were not in care and control of the vehicle at the time of the alleged offense, as you were within the camper atop the vehicle and not within the vehicle itself. As a result, as a result of this error, I support your allegation too. Due to unforeseen circumstances, Constable Erbes is currently not on active duty, and a timeline of his return to work is currently unknown. Again, is this circumstances related to the Part 4 secret investigation? They won't tell me. Or is it just some Erbes issue? Constable Erbes will be provided with the operational guidance by his supervisor pertaining to my expectations in ensuring violation tickets are completed properly. Mr. Herney, on behalf of the RCMP, I wish to convey to you my regret about this oversight. Please accept my apology for any distress you may experience from this incident. I would hope that the corrective action taken and this apology will assist in bringing closure to this matter raised with the CRCC. Yeah, I do not accept your apology, Failure. You put me through the ringer for 2.5 years to give me this shit result and the rest of the allegations. You failed. You failed. You stated that, and then he continues, you stated that you were detained by Constable Erbes from 8:06 to 11. The operation file documented that the call of service made by the call was received from the City of Kelowna officers around 7:22, and that Constable Erbes arrived on scene around 8:02, corroborating your timeline. Okay, I'm not going to read all of this again, but essentially it's going over. You were provided with multiple opportunities to comply with the law, which were determined to be in contravene of, and even offered the opportunity to simply depart the area. You refused to comply with each request, fighting fear for your safety and enforcement against you should you exit the camper. Now, Failure, let's read his synopsis 1, where he says, the individual was not arrested because he was in the motorhome. He was going to arrest me for what? For talking back? For causing a disturbance? But we all know that you can't create a disturbance by talking to the police. It has to be a disturbance of the public before the police. You can't disturb the police. So what? So he was going to arrest me. He was probably going to try to arrest me, and then say that I'm resisting arrest and arrest me for that as well. Like, you're such an idiot. You're such an idiot that you apologize and then waste my time with this malarkey. Malarkey. You then contact the RCMP and request the supervisor attend as set out above. Corporal Hall did attend and describe the interaction with you as circular and argumentative. I think he actually mentioned that ERBES and I had a circular and argumentative tone between us as we went back and forth. You're misleading this thing. There was no evidence to support that you had been detained during the course of the interaction. You're an idiot. If I went outside, he said he was going to arrest me in his synopsis 1. What is wrong with you, failure? You're just making me angry. However, there was evidence in the form of your YouTube videos that you had been requested to depart the area multiple times and had been requested to comply with the police request. Due to your non-compliance and fear of escalation, the decision was made by officers to use their discretion and engage with you completely in order to bring this matter and resolve it peacefully. After reviewing all of the investigative materials, I do not support your Allegation 10. Allegation 10, oppressive contact that Constable ERBES unlawfully detained and harassed you for 3 hours. So let's take a look at Synopsis 1 from CONRAD ERBES, March 1st, 1455, related to the event. And he says, the male was not arrested as was inside the motorhome in yellow there, guys. Let me read before that. A grace period was offered to allow Ernie to leave. Constable ERBES noted MVAR violations with the vehicle and explained those to Ernie in an effort to get him to leave. Ernie refused and continued to reciting American-style legal jargon as reasons, then demanded that a fleet captain or watch commander attend the scene. Ernie screamed at police numerous times. Ernie would shut various windows of the camper and then go to another window and demand to be spoken to from that window. Ernie did repeatedly cause a disturbance multiple times by screaming, shouting, and attracting the attention of multiple pedestrians and motor passerby. The male was not arrested as was inside the motorhome. And I just went over. The police cannot be the cause of the disturbance. So me yelling at ERBES to identify is not disturbing the public. That's disturbing ERBES. ERBES is the disturbance. That is not a criminal charge. You cannot disturb the police. So you can't charge me for disturbing people, causing a disturbance. There's no charge for that. But ERBES would have arrested me for that because look what he's done already. He just make-believes everything. And Hull brought down the situation. He did his job, and then this report, where is Hull's report? Let's read that report. I'm going to get a Freedom of Information Act for that report because I'd like to see what he actually wrote. Because who got to ERBES and influenced him to write it that way, or are you just misrepresenting what he wrote again, Mr. Failer, Staff Sergeant Failer? Like, what a joke. He was going to arrest me. What is hard to understand about this? You're misaligning everything. You're not talking about the facts in front of you. All right, well, that was, so anyways, he did not support that, so we're going to have CRCC look into that, their failure, and we'll see how your report comes out. The next was Allegation 3, improper attitude that Constable ERBES demonstrated vindictive behavior by issuing violation ticket to you at the scene when you would not exit the camper. Allegation 4, improper attitude that Constable ERBES demonstrated vindictive behavior by threatening to tow you in the truck camper when you did not provide identification. There's going to be held... They'll be done together as they will be addressed together, just like the last time. And again, he rewrites essentially what my complaint was in the 15-page document. So we're not going to reread it all again. You were parked on City Street and found to be in contravention of Motor Vehicle Act regulation offenses and a City of bylaw. Well, no, I wasn't. I was made innocent of all those allegations. Failure. Constable ERBES had the authority to issue with the violation ticket for the named offenses. As the owner of the vehicle, as a peace officer, Constable ERBES had the authority to enforce multiple bylaws. In this case, Constable ERBES was working in conjunction with bylaws, City of Kelowna, for overnight abode, which was thrown out. So that it wasn't legit. It wasn't a legit ticket. The actions of Constable ERBES in this circumstance were lawful and diligent, non-vindictive, as you have suggested. After a thorough review of the investigation materials available to me, I do not support your allegations 3 and 4. Again, saying he's vindictive with what he was doing. So, no apology on that one, Failer. Allegation 5, irregularity in procedure that Constable Herbs altered the first violation ticket by crossing out an offense in the driver's copy but leaving it on the other copies. This resulted in you not disputing the first and unpaid fee. Well, we all know what happens with that, and guess what? So he goes over all the details, and I support your allegation. And the result of this violation ticket being processed for all 3 offenses as opposed to just the motor vehicle offenses as set out on your copy, while the investigation was not determined whether this was a malicious act or an unfortunate oversight, a Constable Herbs did not provide any clarifying information to suggest otherwise. I support your allegation. Number 5. Due to unforeseen circumstances, Herbs is currently not on active duty and a timeline is blah, 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 blah. Upon his return, Constable Herbs will be provided with an operational guidance by his supervisor pertaining to my expectations for firstly ensuring that elements of the offense are met prior to issuing a violation ticket under MVA, and secondly to ensure the amendments made on one copy of a ticket are reflected on each copy to ensure transparency. Failure, you're such a joke. He did this on purpose. All the evidence points that he did this on purpose to fuck with me. That's exactly, and he did this several times, from the crossing out the ticket on my copy to doing it again with the next ticket at the next court date and not filing it to try to make me go to court multiple times for the same style of ticket twice. Like, the vindictiveness is out of control. Continuing, Mr. Herney, on behalf of the RCMP, I wish to convey to you my regret about this oversight. Please accept my apology. Fuck your apology for any distress you may have experienced from this incident. I would hope that the corrective action taken and this a bullshit apology will assist in bringing closure to this matter. No, it doesn't. It doesn't, Failure. You wasted all of our time just to misrepresent and lie and proportionate and not go over the evidence correctly. Herbs not identifying, and then all this bullshit. Allegation 7, improper attitude that Constable Herbs served you 2 additional tickets in traffic court after you advised Constable Herbs that you were pleading not guilty to the initial violations, which you believed was an act of intimidation before the hearing. So again, he served me a second ticket in court after he asked me how I would plead. Right outside the courtroom before the first court date. Allegation 11, irregularity of procedure that Constable Herbs did not submit the second violation ticket issued to you, prohibiting him from disputing the violation ticket in the same court proceeding. As allegations 7 and 11 are closely related, they'll be addressed together. I'll read a little bit of it. In your complaint to the CRCC, you stated that on December 14th, while at the courthouse to testify for the dispute involving violation 5678 issued on January 29th, 5 minutes prior to the trial, Constable Herbs approached you and asked you how to plan to plead, and you stated not guilty. Herbs stated, I thought you would say that, and in that case, I'm serving you additional tickets. You have been served. You stated that Constable Herbs handed you a new violation ticket, 9795, which included 2 new offenses of illegible plate and MV failed to state name and address, section 73.2. Again, doubling the same tickets over and over. On March 10th, and then again on March 27th, you stated that you called the violation ticket center and asked the clerk if ticket 9795 had been received. The clerk informed you that Constable Herbs had not provided ticket 9795 to the violation ticket center, so it could be processed and adjudicated upon. The clerk told me there is no time limit for an officer to submit an open ticket to the violation ticket center. You stated that you believed Constable Herbs was purposely holding back submitting ticket 9795 until after the hearing for ticket 95678 was concluded, so as not to allow them to be combined and heard together in front of the judicial justice. You attended the courthouse on March 29th, 23 for the rescheduled traffic court hearing violation 5678, which took place in courtroom 350. You stated that the trial ended at 4 p.m. and it was scheduled for continuance. Your report was dated April 19th, 2023, and you noted that at that time a date had not been scheduled for continuance for the trial. In the memorandum dated April 27th from the Kelowna Law Court's Traffic Department, notification was provided to Constable Herbs that a charter argument for violation ticket 95678 was being raised by you. See, that's why I did the affidavit and the material facts, and that the matter would be heard in provincial court. So it was approved to go to provincial court in front of a real judge, not Judicial Justice Brian Burgess, who's just a piece of shit. Not a real judge at all, right? Just a lawyer that works part-time and works with the RCMP in cohort. On June 20th, 2023, an email was sent to you from Kelowna Crown Council advising that a stay of proceedings has been entered into violation 5678. There were no further details included in the email. Corporal Kootenay reviewed the hard file copy, determined that timeline pertaining to the violation ticket and the second ticket you were served, blah, 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 with being disputed partly. However, the form was not dated. Corporal Kootenay noted the 3 notice of hearing notices on the following, blah, 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 blah. The final notice was hearing was set. However, canceled as stay of proceeding was entered. So they canceled the court for judicial justice. Man, they're going into detail, but essentially, as it relates to Allegation 7, there was no documentation of the Kelowna RCMP file number setting out adjudication for the issuance of additional violation tickets. So ERBES never submitted the ticket in the RCMP side as well. Further, Constable ERBES did not provide any clarification as to why this had occurred. As such, there is no evidence to suggest that this was not an act of intimidation. Therefore, I support your Allegation 7. So again, ERBES gave me the second ticket for intimidation, along with the cease and desist, which he didn't mention here, and the lawsuit that forced. Due to unforeseen circumstances, ERBES is currently not on duty, blah, blah, blah. On behalf of the RCMP, I regret about the incident. Please be advised, accept my apology. No, thank you. I don't accept your apology. You're all part of the same system, same problem. You're perpetuating the same problem here, failure, with this whole process, and lying and protecting ERBES and your little police department. In addition, you raised the charter argument pertaining to violation ticket 5678, which had the matter proceeded, you would have heard in provincial court, would have been heard in Travis. As such, I do not support your Allegation 11. Sorry, I'm getting confused because I skipped so much. Allegation 11 was the irregularity of the ticket, right? Which had the matter proceeded would have been heard, would have been such. Do not proceed. Allegation 11. I would like to take this opportunity to apologize on behalf of RCMP for the length of time that this has taken to address your concerns, as expressed to the CRCC. So it took 2.5 years. Yeah, good job, buddy. It is beyond the mandated response time to complete a public complaint investigation and to provide a final report. We will strive to provide a timely response in the future. Yeah, right. You're a freaking joke. Conclusion. Please be advised that pursuant to Section 4564 of the RCMP Act, I am notifying you that the investigation into this complaint has now been concluded. Furthermore, according to Section 4571, if you are not satisfied with the manner in which your complaint has been disposed by the RCMP, you may request a review by the CRCs in writing to them within 60 days after receiving this final report. Yeah, so let's go back to they did not support Allegation 11. We're cruising, guys. There it is. Irregularity of procedure. That Constable ERBES did not submit the second violation ticket issued to you, prohibiting you from disputing the violation ticket in the same day. Yeah, all the evidence is there. All right, guys. Well, we've concluded this. We're moving on to the CRCC. An hour and 21 minutes. If you guys are still here with me, make sure you give a like and to the video to get this into the YouTube algorithm. Of course, my YouTube channel has been demoted by like 99%. You know, they're just reminding subscribers. The videos don't go anywhere. YouTube has shadow banned the channel. But still, for maybe 1,000 of you guys to see the follow-up. And then again, when the CRCC does their investigation and concludes it, and when the Part 4 secret investigation is maybe made public, we'll see what actually happened to ERBES and why he is not on duty. Okay, guys, make sure to subscribe. See you guys on the flip side. Ernie Racing reporting. And today is July 29th, 2025.